As I said to you before, these taster videos are to inspire you before you come into the live session on Friday. Okay, now how do you use podcasts to build authority so that you are a person people recognize? It's important that when people hear your voice, they can already, like, this voice feels familiar, this feels like home. Podcast is powerful in 2025. People being able to hear the tone of your voice. Especially, in fact, if it's visual, it's beautiful. People get to see your expression, they get to see your body language, they get to see how you carry yourself, they get to hear how you talk, your tone. Are you friendly? Are you authoritative? What do we expect from you? It helps. It helps people connect with you. And so, as you go into this new year, 2026, I'm hoping some of you would do something in 2025 actually. A lot of people seem to have vision 2026, and this is just November. We have more than 40 days. A lot can happen. Please do something in 2025. Don't shift it. Now, back to this podcast conversation. In 2016, I had decided, I'm going to release something. I don't know what. I started this podcast called Better Me with Liza. I was very young, very smallish. I took down some of the videos on YouTube. It was very funny. I looked really small because I was really small. And I started recording these podcasts casually on my phone. I was using a BlackBerry Q10 at the time. It was already fading out. It had this app called Parrot Pro. Parrot Pro is a fantastic tool for recording. And so I'd recorded some episodes of this podcast. I uploaded it online. And then 2017, the opportunity came to apply for Yali, West Africa. Other people had businesses and projects. In fact, one of my classmates at the time was a Tony Elumelu fellow. Another person was a Bank of Industry fellow. Some other people were preparing to go to Mandela Washington Fellowship in US. All sort of places. And so now I'm at Yali RLC with leaders from 9 African countries on the power of a podcast. I've always spoken my whole life. I'd spoken, I'd done debates, etc. So I get to Yali and everyone is talking about business and I don't know jack. I literally didn't know jack about business in 2017. And so I come out of the NGO class and I go to the entrepreneurship class. And I think entrepreneurship is where I should be. I get to the entrepreneurship class, I'm hearing about lean model canvas, blah, 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 blah. And so I applied that same system to my podcast. Who is my target audience? What's my unique value proposition? At this point, I'm already shifting in the way I do advocacy around trauma, around addictions, etc. And I was beginning to shift gears, beginning to understand a few things in business. I'm beginning to move forward. What I'm saying is, podcast provided reference. When I started podcasting, I didn't podcast so I could have reference. It was after Yali and a few other events and occurrences that I looked back and I thought, wait a minute. My podcast gives me a track record. I've lost quite a lot of episodes of podcasts in this life, but you will still find over 100 podcasts with my name on it on the internet. More than 100 episodes with my name on it. Publishing intentionally. I had my team renamed correctly, structurally for my business and everything. If you type in Liza Express podcast right now, your screen will be full. I don't care where you're typing from, except perhaps you're typing from Asia. We haven't tested our SEO in Asia, obviously, because they have a lot of different systems. I remember a time when certain sites in Nigeria were not opening if they were hosted in certain places. And this website developer calls me and says, where are you hosting your site? I'm using VPN and I'm testing your site from Russia and your site is showing. So I called someone in Russia and I said, check my site. Say, yes, Liza Express is opening in Russia. And I thought, oh my goodness, we're working. Anyway, back to this thing. Your podcast gives you references. Now, you see this Russian conversation that I'm laughing about. My podcast has ended up in countries that my business does not have an online presence in. I've not serviced clients in Canada. None of my businesses have. However, we woke up one morning, we were looking for, I think we were doing online. So my team has this thing periodically where we go on the internet in incognito modes on different devices, other people's devices, and all we're doing is we're looking for the loophole. How will someone find us, search for us, and not find us? And so one of those days we're doing this incognito scout for our brand, and then we find that a brand in Canada had aggregated our podcast into their platform. And so as a result of it, we had a lot of people from a different walk of life that we did not market to listening to us. That is something newsletter cannot give to you, because newsletter requires that they sign up. That is something social media cannot give to you, because the algorithm requires that they are interested in that content. With podcasts, all it takes is a platform that is aggregating content to just say, every new podcast that is visible online, find it. It scans and it just gathers everything. You end up where you never would have planned for. They don't do that thing with blog posts. They don't even do it with videos. They only do it with audio content. It's called podcast aggregation. They don't do it with any other form of content. So you go to Spotify podcasts. You go to Spotify. On Spotify, you find every podcast that is hosted on Spotify platform. But if I'm not hosting on Spotify, I won't be on Spotify. However, I can host a podcast on Spotify, take it from Spotify, use the RSS feed. So the RSS feed is a series of links that are interconnected, such that every time you update the podcast platform, the main platform, it goes into the RSS feed. I can take an RSS feed from a podcast on Spotify and go to 50 podcast distributors and say, please help me showcase this podcast, and I don't pay for it. It's free. Where else would you get that kind of publicity? I run a tech company. There is nothing else. I'm not kidding. There is no tool. And I just snap like a Nigerian. There is no tool that gives you that kind of visibility. Not a single tool. Not your website, not your social media, not even YouTube. YouTube is a content bank like no other. If you have content on YouTube, whenever people search for you from anywhere, they would find you within the general search engines. But they are still going to youtube.com to find you. With podcasts, I can podcast at Anchor, and someone will go and listen to me on YouTube because I went to YouTube and submitted the link. Someone can go and listen to me on Podbean. Someone can go and listen to me on Google Podcast. Someone can go and listen to me on Spotify. Someone can go and listen to me on Apple. Someone can listen to me on Amazon Music. They can listen to me in 50 different places. Guess what? I'm only uploading it in one place. Do you understand the effect of that kind of publicity? That if I have 50 episodes and I distribute the 50 episodes on 10 platforms, and I don't have to distribute it 50 times, I only have to distribute it once, it means that there are 500 potential links on the internet with my name on it. So when we noticed we're doing a lot of media work, and we decided to separate our media production and publishing away from all the other things we did, one of the things my team invested in was the podcast network. We were very intentional because we had done it. It worked. So when all our systems crashed, the reason people could still find us online was that some of the platforms we distributed to did not just distribute our RSS. They re-downloaded the content and recreated it for themselves. So even when it shut down on Spotify, it didn't shut down on their own platform. I remember when we were trying to order the podcast, we would go to one particular platform and check what's the order. We also had the podcast on our website because we had found a tool to pull the podcast. Remember content repurposing? We had found a way to pull the content from the podcast platform into our website such that our website had downloaded it. But my team likes to do backup. So aside from what we had on the podcast on our website and what we had on all these other platforms, all these platforms are virtual, they can all crash. We had it backed up in a drive. I think our head of media also had it backed up physically. What I'm saying to you is that you do not accidentally you're not accidentally visible. Your content is not accidentally preserved. The day before Twitter was banned in Nigeria, and I know I'm speaking to people globally, but these rules apply to all of us. The day before Twitter was banned in Nigeria in 2022, thereabout, I'd come on my team group. We had this meeting group platform where we communicate, and I'd said to them, get all my content off Twitter today. I woke up with it, and at the time I was the only content creator on the team, so hence I said my content. Get every post I have made off Twitter. I need it off Twitter today. Copy it out. They started copying the content and we couldn't finish with the content. Twitter was banned the next day. The very next day. The saving grace we had was that we had a team member who was a non-Nigerian living outside Nigeria. So the person continued copying the content. Imagine if Instagram shuts down tomorrow, all your Instagram shots, what will happen to them? All the reels you made. If YouTube is around to stay, I'm hoping they're around to stay because they built something absolutely phenomenal. There is no video platform that gives you what YouTube gives to you. Vimeo is fantastic, but in terms of publicity, I would choose YouTube any day of the week because YouTube doesn't just publish your content. YouTube sells like a bank. The video you published on YouTube 20 years ago still has the same authority this year. And the reason is simple. If someone searches for the topic and nobody who has made a newer content has more quality than your own, YouTube will still recommend you. The only way the person will outrank you is because they are updating their SEO. But if you're updating your SEO as you go, that 20-year ago video, even though it's not as old, like we don't have that many old content on YouTube, but that 20-year-old video will still rank well. So YouTube has that kind of equality. It's not driven by algorithms like the other social media. What I'm saying is, when it comes to podcast gives you such authority and portfolio that nothing else gives to you. Now, you could do podcast as well, I will create my podcast, or you could become a guest on other people's podcasts. That's something you could do. Commit to visual speaking engagement. At the beginning of my career in the wellness space, one of the things I know I did not compromise on was the quality of graphics design. You could invite me to speak for free, but you will not give me crappy graphics design. I will not take it. I will not take it. This thing I'm telling you, I was very, very, very young. I'm talking 7 years ago. I was way younger than I am now. I was not going to tolerate crappy graphics design. And it was simple. At the time, Instagram was very visual. Instagram was my main social media account. And so the only thing I had going for me was podcast and graphic designs. If you pay me at the time, it didn't convert to a lot for me because people didn't even know me and I wanted to be known at the time. So graphics was important. Some of you have spoken on 2,000 platforms and I'm proud of you. But if we Google you, we can't find a single speakership invitation online. We can't find the graphics design of the event. We can't find the replay content of the event. We can't find pictures you took at the event. We can't even find a clip of what you said at the event. Of what business importance was that speaking engagement? Just because they paid you, haven't you finished spending the money? There's the place. I want the money. You need the money. I'm not saying you shouldn't get the money. I'm saying there is a kind of visual authority that makes people know this person is not new. This person is not new. Some of us are struggling to sell year after year because every time people see you, you look like a newbie. They go to your Instagram, the Instagram account has no order. Your grid looks like you put anything that works. We look at the quality of your graphics design, it looks like a brand that started 3 weeks ago. And university students are interning for you, you're designing with PowerPoint. And it's not as if you have to do it yourself. It's not as if you can afford to pay someone. It's just not intentional. You have a podcast, you publish once a week, you don't publish again for another 6 months. Instead of burning energy, go and speak on someone else's platform. Within your terms of service, your speaking engagement, did you tell them your content was your content? That's conversation for another day. That's the legal side of things. Many of us don't even know our legal rights. Because it's your content. You're supposed to be able to leave a speaking engagement that you spoke out for 1 hour. You should be able to leave that speaking engagement and at least give us 15 reels. You shouldn't have to record at least 15 reels because of that speaking engagement. Whether it was Instagram Live, it was YouTube, it was radio. There is an episode on Liza Express podcast called Self-Sabotage. That episode happened on radio. That radio show I was talking about where someone listened to me and said they will reach out to me years later. It was that same episode. I had someone at home listening and recording. When we were done, we edited it and we uploaded it on the podcast. The radio host that interviewed me no longer works at that place. There is no graphics design of me speaking at that event. That radio platform did not have a social media account where they live streamed that radio show. They didn't have a YouTube channel at the time. So had I not intentionally preserved my content, they were not thinking about me. They just needed to fill a slot. I need you to understand that platforms are not thinking about you. They are trying to fill a slot. When I have IG Live, the quality of the video may not be good because internet fluctuated. This was a few years ago. But you see, when I'm done, my head of media downloads my Instagram Live, converts it to audio, edits it, and ensures that there is something post-produced. When I have a conference, every session is recorded and edited. It goes into my community. At the point of every conference, I have either pre-event activities or post-event activities that requires just my media team to produce. It's intentional. When it comes to podcasting and publishing, you need to intentionally focus on the topics. The topics have to sell your authority. Number 2, you want to focus on consistency. Nobody wants to listen to a podcast that is published once every 6 weeks. Number 3, you want to distribute correctly. I know you may not have an entire team like I do. There was a time when I used to record my podcast in a wardrobe. I will be sweaty when I come out. This video I'm recording, I'm not recording in the best environments I probably recorded in, but guess what? I will record it. A bad video is better than no video. A bad podcast episode that has disturbances in the background is better than no episode. This year, I interviewed an author in the US. And because the quality of the video was good, someone on the media crew made a decision to cut off the video without telling me. And I remembered speaking about it later and I thought to myself, we could have made the video black and white. It's bad video, yes, the lighting would have been in funny positions. Would have just made everything black and white. But guess what? It would have been online. It would have been online. Someone would have at least heard the interview and said, oh, this person knows what they're saying. Some of you are self-sabotaging because you're saying to yourself, oh, but my camera quality is not as good. My video production is not as good. My microphone is not as good. You can order a small microphone and record on your phone. Use your phone sound recorder. You can use a free podcast hosting platform like Spotify for podcasters, Spotify for creators. Spotify may not distribute for you. Set aside 3 days. and spend 1 hour each going to different distribution platforms to distribute the podcast. It's not that hard. Podcasting is easier than posting on Instagram. I can hit my chest. I can bet my money on it. What it will cost you to get 30 videos on Instagram is the same thing it will cost you to record 30 podcast episodes. But the distribution and authority 30 podcast episodes will give you, 30 Instagram videos may not give you if they don't go viral or if you don't have a large following. And so it is with these few points of mine, I hope I have been able to convince you and not confuse you on podcasting. That podcasting is a phenomenal idea. If you've been dragging your foot about it, if you've been overthinking it, if you have questions about it, please feel free. Come to the live class, come ready, come with your questions. I'm going to walk you people through some of these things I've said. I'm going to show you examples. I'm going to show you other people's podcasts. I'm going to show you where certain podcasts are doing some other things wrong. Okay? So see you in the live class. Bye.